Well, hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. In this video, I'm going to be trying to fix my Umarex Legends Cowboy rifle. So, let's crack on and roll those titles. Okay, well, this is my Cowboy rifle made by Umarex, and it's CO2 powered. It takes two little CO2 cartridges that go in the butt there, and it's developed a leak. Now, I went online and had a look to see, like you normally do, if you want to find out how to fix something, usually first port of call is YouTube. And I found a really good YouTube video explaining how to take this apart and fix a leak. But it turned out that, you know, the most common place for a leak is up in the front here. I'll show you when I take it apart. But mine was actually leaking at the back here. Now, because I couldn't find a video of how to fix this leak, in case anybody else gets a leak in this same place, I thought I'd make one. So what we're going to do is going to take this apart and then see what we can do to fix it. Let's get going, shall we? First thing we need to do then is remove this rear part of the stock, and that is secured by this screw here, and there's another screw underneath the lever there. This one's crosshead, and this one, as you can see, is flat bladed. I think this is one of only two flat blade screws on this rifle that needs to be removed. So what we're going to do is I'll take those out and take the stock off. Okay, here's the plastic stock removed. I'll put that to one side. You can see I'm keeping my screws together in a tin so I don't lose them, and you'll see what's inside the stock. This is the piece that you get to through the back plate of the stock, and if I unscrew this, that's where you put the cartridges. So the leak is actually at the head here where the first cartridge is pierced, and that is where the leak appears to be coming from. Now, to get to here, I've got to take this side of the breech off, and to do that we have to remove the barrel, and there's a pin here. So what we need to do is we need to knock that out from we need to knock that pin out from that side there. So that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to use my long thin thingy thinnest punch that I've got in my set to knock these out. That's come out quite easily. Push that out and put that in the tin, and then we can pull the barrel off. So we'll take the barrel, one complete section, and we'll move that to one side. So now we have the complete action. What I need to do to remove this is there are two tiny little screws on this side that need to come out, and on this side we've got this one here, and then we've got 1, 2 there. So that's 5 in total. So we'll take these ones out first, and I'll take the other ones out, and then I'll be back with you. So removed all the screws. Now you can see 1, 2, 3 taken there, and these ones taken out, and now we have to lift this off. None of these screws have got any Loctite on, and they're not done up particularly tight, so they were quite easy to undo. So that's the thing to remember when you put them back: don't tighten them up too tight. And what we're going to do is separate, see if we can separate this action, lift it off. And there we go. And one of the things that you need to be aware of is the safety catch will fall out because that slides in this section up here. And also worth remembering as well is there's a little detent pin here with a spring that works on the underneath of the safety catch to hold it in place, and we'll take that out as well. They're the only parts that are likely to fall out. Okay, so let's have a look at this action then. Now, I did mention that the common place for this to leak is this section here. This is the valve. If I pull back the hammer, there's a little pin in here that the hammer hits, and that pin goes through and hits the valve at the front here, which lets the gas through down the barrel. And there are some O-rings in here that sometimes get a little bit dry, and from what I've seen in other videos, the way to cure the leak here is to take this out. A lot of these bits here lift off, and there's a screw there. If you release that, you can take that top section off and then get these out, and then you can take the valve apart and just re-grease or re-lubricate the O-rings in there, and that seems to fix that. Where I'm leaking is right here. So you can see this mechanism, this assembly here, seems to sit just over 2 pins, and there's a brass tube that goes into it, and that's where the leak is. So what I need to do is to try and take this, lift this up and get it out without bending that tube there. I might have to lift the trigger mechanism out. So what we'll do is, yeah, trigger mechanism just lifts out quite easily. So we'll move that to one side, and then you can get a better look at this. I'm going to have a go off camera at trying to loosen this section up and see how easy it is to lift up, so that I don't do any damage to this brass tube. So I'll be with you again in a short while. So I've got some 99% isopropyl alcohol in the pot there. Got some cotton buds, put it all around the cloth so that I avoid any spills, and I'm going to try and lift this up and give this element here a good clean, make sure that I can get all the grease off of it, and then obviously we need to clean up in that hole as well. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, slight change of plan then. I cleaned this up, and then I went to clean this up, and the way that I wanted to try to do it was using a cleaning patch, a barrel cleaning patch on the end of my punch. And what I didn't realize, as you can see here, there's actually like a little O-ring inside with a washer on the outside of it. So I think what I'm going to do first, before I use the JB Weld on this, is I'm going to try putting it back together with lubricating this little O-ring here, this little rubber O-ring, lubricating that properly, and putting that washer back, and then putting it back together, and then I will see if it holds, if it still leaks. If it still leaks, then what I can do is basically just ditch this O-ring and then go with the JB Weld. But didn't know there was an O-ring in there, so it's worth a chance, and we'll try that and see what happens. Okay, so I've given that a good dose of grease and pushed it back together. What I did is I put the O-ring and the washer on the tube, and I think what's supposed to happen is these little lugs here, when you push it in, they're supposed to push against that washer and hold that against the O-ring. So what I'm going to do is put the cover back on before I put the gas in, just to hold this together. I won't worry about I won't put the safety catch thing back in yet. I'll just put the side back on and then put it under pressure and see if it still leaks. Right, I've just put the 3 bolts back on one side. I've left the other 2 for now. I'm going to put one CO2 cylinder in and use an empty one. And what we'll do is we'll screw this up and see what happens. Right there, hopefully you can hear that. It is still leaking. Oh yeah, that's not going to work because that's not done up properly. So yeah, we've still got a leak, so I think we're going to have to go with a JB weld. Okay, so things never turn out the way you think. We've now got a link. You can hear we've now got a link at this a leak at this end. This is not leaking at all. So this is where it normally leaks. So this is what we're going to try and fix now, I guess, the traditional leaking area. We need to sort this end out as well. So that's what I'm going to do. Never rains but it pours. So while we're waiting for the pressure to dissipate, just to show you how this comes apart, the cocking lever just lifts away and in one part like that, and then this part here just lifts away as well, and we need to get to this valve. This is where this tube's leaking there. We need to get to that valve, and to lift this part away we need to undo that screw there so that comes loose, and then we can lift this off. So I'm going to let that stop hissing before I lift that off, just in case there's a super boost of CO2. So it's degassed now, so we can lift this piece up and take the bit off the top there, and then there's a another metal piece with a spring. Okay, and then this obviously lifts out. Right, so what I need to do here then is take that out completely from there. And that's actually glued in to that part there, looks of it. And then we've got the valve. You can see there's two pins there. So we'll try and unscrew that, take that out, and lube that all up, and then I guess put it back together again. Did sound like it was coming from this joint here, but that is all glued up, so I can't see how that can, you know, that joint there is all glued together, so I can't see how that can be leaking. But anyway, we'll take this apart and lube it up and then see what we can do with it. I've got circlip pliers then that I can put in this section here, and then hopefully undo. Yeah, which it has done. Ooh. There's the valve out with the spring. You can see that there's the O-ring, and what we'll do is we'll lube that all up, put it back together again. So as you can see, I've got all this this valve back in, lubed up, everything's back together again, and all the pieces slotted back in. I'm going to put the side back on, then put another cylinder in and cross my fingers and hope that it works this time. Well, as you can probably hear, it's still leaking. And if you hear when I put my finger down there, the change of note, it's definitely leaking at that joint. Now what I need to do is I need to check the parts diagram, because I suspect that what probably happened is, I mean, this is a second-hand rifle. Somebody's come in here at some time and they've glued that in because there was a leak, which if that's the case, I'll check the parts diagram to see whether that is a loose part or whether that's part of the valve. If that's been glued in, then what I need to do is to cut all of that glue out and then try and re-glue it with my JB weld, because obviously now I've solved the leak here. That's built the stopped the pressure from releasing there. It's caused additional pressure up here, and that's become the weak point. So what I'm going to do is check the parts diagram and then sort of come back to this and chop that all out, clean that all up, and then refix it if that's what I need to do. Bit of an update where we are then. What seems to be happening is that when the gas is initially released in the cylinder, the pressure's too great for that joint down at the front there, and it starts leaking. Eventually the pressure drops enough that that leak stops, and then the only way to get rid of the rest of the gas is to actually fire the rifle, and you fire it about a dozen times, and then the pressure's released enough to actually take it apart again. So anyway, I've looked at the parts diagram. That part is definitely not supposed to be glued, so that is a repair that somebody else has done. So what I need to do is to take that out and basically try and chip away all of that glue and pull those parts apart, and then see what we have, and see how I want to proceed. I mean, on the parts diagram, it does show like a little screw-in piece with what looks like an O-ring or a gland that goes in the bottom of that valve. Certainly, having taken the valve apart and looked at it, the O-ring and the seating and everything inside that looked fine. So I'm not particularly concerned about those bits, but it's a case of taking it all apart again and then basically trying to get rid of all of that dodgy glue joint. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll come back when that is done. This is where we're at then. I managed to remove all the glue, get the tube out and clean it up, and we actually had this sort of like collet that screws in there, and I don't know if you can't really see in there, but there's another O-ring in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of hedge my bets really. I'm going to put it back together as intended with no glue at all. Make sure both of these joints are all fully lubed up with silicone grease, and then put it back together and see if it holds true or if it still leaks. I'm pretty certain that if this is lubed up right, that O-ring looks in pretty good condition down there. So I mean, the glue that was used, I mean, it was so soft, it was so easy to get to chip away at with the tip of a knife, so it wasn't a very good repair. So I'm going to try and put it back in as it's meant to be first, and then see how we get on. Right, we're all back together again. I guess this is the moment of truth of whether it's going to work in its original format or whether I'm going to have to resort to the glue. But here we go. So a new cylinder put in. So I even put the safety catch back in because I'm just thought it would be a good luck charm. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Right, we have got an initial. There's a little of a bit of a leak there, but not much. Do you know, I'm just put my ear to it and I can't hear a leak at all. So let's give it a shot. I warn you, it's quite loud without the barrel. No leaks. Well, there you go. So I bought the JB Weld. What a waste of money that was then. I'll get to use that on something else, I guess. But just repairing somebody's dodgy fix has seems to have solved the problem. Yeah, definitely no leaks now. Can't hear anything. So all they needed to do was to open it up, take it to bits, take that collet out, re-lube that O-ring, so it's sealed properly against that copper, that brass tube, and job's a good one. So one more. Right, let's put the safety on. What we're going to do now is I'll put the barrel back on, put the stock back on, and we might as well go and shoot it, make sure it still shoots. So there you go, happy days. Right, that's back in, that's not going to come out. And always temptation is when you put this back on to put it on that way, and that's the wrong way round. It needs to go that way. Oh, nearly lost that one. Might help if I pushed it all the way home. That's it. There we go, all back together again. So we'll take it out on the range, shall we? Oh, right, we're out in the garden range then. See how this thing works now. Now the leak's supposedly been fixed. We're at about 10 yards. That's all you want for a CO2s. They're quite low power. And if you've got one of these, I don't know what pellets you use, but I use these Econ 2s, the woodcutter flat-headed pellets. These are pretty good value. They're just over, usually pick them up for just over £3 a tin for 500 pellets, which is pretty good. And what you do is with this rifle, you have to use these shells you get. It takes 10 shells. Basically, you've got a little rubber bit at the end, and you stick the pellet forward in that, and then you load your shells. So we're going to load 10 shots then. So it's all pretty authentic, you know. I'll tell you what, the kids love this. I bought this really for, although I'm a big kid and I do like shooting it, I bought it for the grandkids because it's nice and light, it's easy to shoot, and at this sort of close range, they like shooting the tin cans and stuff. So it's sort of good fun, especially like putting the shells in, chasing shells when they get ejected, and you know, find them in the grass and everything. So yeah, it's good for shooting with the kids, and say not bad with the adults either. But it's actually, I found this when I've shot it at a target, it's actually pretty accurate. So anyway, what we're going to do then is I've put a splatterburst target up. We'll have a couple of shots at the target and see how we get on, see where it goes, and then I've put some chalk men out there and some tins. Got a camera on it. We see how we go. So I'll put a shot in then. I'm going to cheat and use a bag. Oh. I'll pick the shells up afterwards where they go flying. Hopefully we'll be able to find them all at the end. Actually shoot it a bit high above the target, but I still carry on aiming at the same point. Nice one at this then. Can't see where they want. Let's have a go at one of them chalk men then, see if we can hit a chalk man. Oh, hit something. Yeah. Tin cans are easy because they're big targets. That's it, we're out. Safety on, so looks like it's working. Yeah, no more leaks. So happy days, good job. Well, that was unexpected, wasn't it? So yeah. Well, got my rifle back working, no leaks, can't complain. Umarex Legends Cowboy rifle, great fun. Get yourself one. Well, that didn't turn out as expected. Oh, I set out to make a simple little video just to deal with one leak, and ended up being a bit more of an adventure. To be honest, it wasn't even in my list of videos to make, but I got the rifle out the other day when my grandson was over and we were going to shoot it, and it was clearly leaking. It hadn't leaked like that before, so I had to put it away, and we had to shoot with the pistols instead. And so I thought, oh, nice little video, you know, I'll get that done. I've just bought this thing here, which is sort of like desk mounted, that I can mount the camera overhead. So I thought, oh, it's a good excuse to sort of give that an outing, use that for the first time. And then we got what we got. So yeah, very serendipitous, if you could say that. I got the old target here because I didn't show the target. There's the 5 pellets at the top there. And then because I needed to use the gas up before I put the rifle away, I had another bit of a shoot down here. What I did is I adjusted my aim point a bit. But, you know, considering that rifle is, you know, essentially a toy, you know, it's very low power. It's not bad performance, really, you know, can't complain. Anyway, so it is what it is. The rifle's working now, which is great. Unbelievable that you can, you know, repair somebody else's repair. You know, if they'd have just pulled that brass tube out and lubed that up that O-ring, they wouldn't have had to muck around with that stupid glue that they put on there. Although saying that, I was going to do the same thing. Although at least I was going to use the right glue. I don't know what that was that they put on there, but it was so soft and sort of tacky, it was quite easy to get off. So anyway, hope you found that interesting to watch, something a bit different, I suppose. And thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next one. So you know what I'm going to say now from me. Bye for now.